The longest episode we've ever recorded. Yeah, it's gonna be a thing.
I think you forget the week before Christmas, 2019. That was a week of comics right there that we'll never get back that time ever.
That was that $150
Yes,
week.
that was that was that massive, huge week. This wasn't that bad. This was big, just wasn't that bad.
I mean,
and it was really good.
We're
stuff.
going pretty head on whose is bigger. I mean,
yeah, I actually included both copies of Batman.
So much regret for those of you on YouTube that we didn't do Books on a Budget this week. We will return to Books on a Budget.
There's another coming out next week.
The second week of July. Books on a Budget for July 1, yes. Buy the comics that are available.
Because you got four new books.
You can get those for around $22. So you're good. Yeah, so, granted.
Well, Firepower's 10.
I understand that. That's why I said 22.
So he said 22.
Yeah, that's $4 for the other three.
Exactly.
That's 22.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's right. It's true. So, yeah.
So save some money on some sparklers and just buy all 4 books that are coming out, and you're good. You're good. That's Books on a Budget. So.
Blam. There we go.
All right. So this is what was the date last week?
24th.
24th.
Of June.
24th.
We're still in June.
Yes. Yeah.
July.
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't. Continuity's hard.
Time and things.
That's the stop button. I pressed the wrong button. Whoops. Hi guys, I'm David.
And I'm Garin.
And we are the Printed Panel Podcast, and we are doing June 24th review, and this is going to be a fairly long episode if we talk in detail about every single comic book.
So settle in, get your coffee, get your snack, whatever you're going to do.
We're just going to push through some of the ones that don't need great detail.
They all need... Okay.
They do not all need great detail.
Okay, let's start.
First of all, you're a comic book slut, and some of your books just don't need to be talked about.
They all need detail. These are all really good. Okay.
No. And I'm going to just curse Jeff Lemire. I try to stay very positive, but it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard.
I swear.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. We're starting with Aftershock Comics, God Killers, The War on Terror, number 3.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting read. And so, if you go back to H.P. Lovecraft, the Mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred was the author of the Necronomicon.
Right.
Well, modern day, al-Hazred is a Arab defector that was in the U.S. military, froze up during an operation. His platoon gets killed around him. He's a folklorist for Islamic folklore, and also is an avowed atheist. So, really interesting. But in the first couple of issues, he deals with a panglagon, which is an Arabic version of a vampire, and a jinni.
A jinn?
A jinni.
Is it jinni or jinn?
Well, I'm going to say jinni in this case. So, a genie. If we're gonna anglicize it.
Yeah.
Shows up in the last issue, and in this issue he starts to take hold of it, and I swear to God one of the characters from Hellboy cut off his fingers.
It does look like Rasputin from Hellboy.
It looks like Rasputin from Hellboy. I was like, okay, and he's Russian, and Rasputin just cut off his fingers. That's pretty cool.
So the whole point of this mission is to kind of capture these creatures for the U.S. for the United States Army, so that way they can weaponize it and defeat ISIS and any other enemy they're ever going to have. And he knows how to do it. It's the ring that was taken from him.
The Cell of Solomon.
Exactly, the ring that was taken from him, back in issue 1. So he gets it, but then loses it almost immediately. And
to Rasputin. It isn't Rasputin. It just looks like him.
Yeah, it looks like an undead version of a crazy Russian with a big old beard. So this was really good story.
And maybe it is Rasputin, which would be really neat.
This was a great story. I have really loved God Killers. Again, Aftershock knocking it out of the park again. It's Mark Sable, obviously, knocking it out of the park, but Aftershock doing a fantastic job. I will say, I am not a fan of the art.
Really? I like the art.
It's okay. It fits the story, but I'm not a fan of the flash lines. I don't know. It's just...
So my thing with it is it's kind of like...
chaotic.
It's meant to be.
I know. I get it. I'm not saying it's bad.
It's on purpose.
I get it. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying I'm not a big fan.
So I agree. There are comics that if you drew it in the Superman style, if you had Greg Capullo drawing this, and he was making it look like Dark Knight's death metal, it wouldn't work.
No.
It is absolutely wrong. So I agree that if this guy were drawing or coloring Batman or Superman or something like that, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
But for what it is, I'm going to call it Robert Kirkman's outcast theory.
Yeah.
That the art and the moodiness of the color really suits the book. So yes, I wouldn't choose it as my art. Like I wouldn't go, oh holy hell, that art in Harley Quinn. Yes. No. Right. But for what it is, I think it fits.
Yeah. So moving on to AWA, I did Red Border #2.
I thought about it.
It was really predictable. I saw it coming in issue 1. The guys who rescue this small group of intellectuals from Mexico.
Are they going to take them and play the most dangerous game, and they're going to hunt them?
Yes.
I didn't read it.
I mean, the whole thing leading up to it, there's a whole lot of dialogue involved, but that's basically what it is. I mean, I saw it coming. This was a little predictable. Still good.
There was at least one yeehaw, wasn't there?
Oh, several. Yeah. So, but the guy, the mobster from Mexico is still hunting them. Still going to try to find them. But basically, the people in the house are like, "No, stay here as long as you want. Don't worry about going anywhere. I mean, the people are hunting you anyway.
Y'all make your sales at home."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Saw it coming. There's a whole room full of guns, and there's a trapdoor going to a dungeon where there's people hanging, Mexicans specifically hanging. So. Saw it coming. Year Zero #2.
Year Zero #2.
Great book. The zombie apocalypse is upon us in this book, and there's only some people that are aware of it. The guy in the bunker, man, he's just the best. I mean, he has a whole thing about how he loves numbers. Numbers are everything for him. He's like, how many times I've read this book?
So
4,204. Yeah.
So he's a heavy set D&D geek.
Yeah. How many times I've read
who is doing jumping jacks with his gut hanging out from his shirt? Like I felt that on a personal level. I was like, I think that's me.
How many times I rolled a critical, like a critical one, like a critical miss?
Critical fail,
like
yeah.
81 or something like that. I mean, he's like literally, he has all these numbers in his head. How many people made fun of me about this bunker? 137. It's pretty great. He does, I believe, have a blow-up doll with him. Was that?
That wasn't a blow-up doll, and it shames me to admit that I know what that is, but it was a real doll. So it was
Oh, like Laurel's and the Real Girl.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a real doll.
Yeah, ew. So,
yes, ew.
But he talks about how many times he's...
No, All right.
And,
so anyway,
and then how many times he's had sex with a real person?
Zero number time.
And so hold on. First of all, we're missing 3 other characters.
No, I wasn't moving on.
Yes,
I want to talk about the other characters.
You were picking up once. Hey, comic book sluts, slow down. So there's 3 other characters. There's a kid in Mexico who is an orphan who kind of lives on the streets.
Yeah, he's a nobody, and literally, if he wants to be seen, he has to tug your shirt to be seen. He's literally nothing.
His parents were killed by an assassin who he's hiding in the church. He's always loved the church, and the zombie priest is going to eat him. First of all, amazing zombie priest. And the man who executed his parents rescues him and basically says, "Come with me if you want to live."
Very Terminator. It's very nice.
Very Terminator. The Japanese assassin is investigating a woman shot in the head.
It was his partner.
His love.
His love, his partner. They were escaping together.
And in the middle of this zombie apocalypse, she's been assassinated.
Right.
And he just calmly is shooting zombies with both hands.
The zombies come after because he didn't even look. Bam, he shoots both of them, but not even looking at them. Yeah, it's.
And I don't know why it bothers me, but there's an Arabic group of all women who have been abused by men.
Yeah.
And it bothers me.
Who have gotten the Americans to rescue them.
Only they then turn.
Yeah.
And so she ends up picking up his M16. It bothers me her name's Fatima. I don't know why it bothers me her name is Fatima.
It's a very common name.
Is it?
Yeah, very common.
I did something
in the Arabic world, and if you guys, if you want to correct me, please let me know. But I've always thought it was a very common name in the Arabic world. And that's not an insult at all. It's literally.
I'm not saying it's insulting. Yeah. I just there's something about her being called Fatima that bothers me. I don't know what it is. It's a very weird.
Okay, sure. So yeah, this was good storyline.
Really, really good story.
I know it's only 5 issues, but I can't wait to see more. So.
Now you can go to bed.
Thank God this finally came back out.
Hold on.
Did I miss one?
Garin needs to talk about one more Aftershock book that should have gone before Year Zero because you can't alphabetize.
Excuse me. So I got this out.
Comic book sluts can't alphabetize.
Comic book stores, Aftershock decided several months ago they were going to make a comic specifically for comic book stores and give it to the retailers completely for free. It's called Support Our Shops, or SOS. Each story in here, and there's several stories in here, is done by a comic book writer and a comic book artist that talk about their experiences with comic book stores and how they first got into it. Cullen Bunn does one, Stephanie Phillips does one, Jerry Ordway does one, and these are real stories. These are literally their lives. They talk about comic books. What are you doing?
Letting you talk about your thing and answering a work email. Go ahead.
Anyway, so this is pretty great. This is one of those that comic book stores got for free, but they did ask for donations. So quite literally, when you bought one, they're asking you for a donation, whatever you felt was reasonable for this comic. Some people spent $5. I had a couple of customers spend $20 this week on this because they knew it was supporting the store. The coronavirus hit, the pandemic is out, and it affected everybody. And Aftershock knew this. There's one book coming out next week for those. The Negan Lives is coming out specifically from Image, specifically for that same thing from Image. Is pretty cool. So, this was.
So in some ways, shops were hit harder than the publishers, because publishers can continue to. Publishers can continue to. QRS.
Keep going.
Publishers can continue to create and have their writers and their artists work, and then when things get up full steam, they can actually have a stockpile of work that then they can go through. We're missing money, and we're going to recover that money because we paid our creatives during the time they were down.
Right. Now, not all companies did that. Image did, I believe Dark Horse did, Aftershock did, Vault and Boom did as well, but IDW, they laid people off and just fired them outright for all this. It's kind of sad. I know Marvel laid a few people off, but they're back now. DC, I think, kept strong. I think DC was like, no, we're going to maintain. Because they didn't have this massive volume of product that Marvel did anyway. They had slimmed down already. So I think DC played it the right way. And that's just my humble comic book seller opinion of what happened, but
I'm not even sure DC didn't make the right decision in breaking from Diamond. But we'll talk about that. We're gonna actually do 2 episodes. We're gonna do a Diamond Comics previews episode, and then we're gonna do a DC Connect episode.
Yeah, because really they're 2 separate things now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll get back to. And by the way, SOS was good. If your shop got any, please buy one and donate because it's really kind of cool. Most shops didn't get it though. If you were not a heavy Aftershock supporter, you weren't going to get this.
I had to spend $100 on my comics, so I said, not today.
So, Once and Future number 8. Gran saying, you know what, you can just tell me I was right. You just say it. It's okay. You can say, Gran, you were right. It's okay. You can say it now.
And they were actually checking out a site where Elaine had been performing a ritual, and she was trying to get to her son.
Right.
Who is with Arthur being just tortured, having his legs cut off.
Yeah. I mean, so the best thing is
You survived the siege perilous, you'll be fine. Let me just carve on you a while.
So they steal the Book of Beowulf, the original Beowulf storyline. They steal these things basically to bring back what they believe was going to be Beowulf.
And they call it the Otherworld.
The Otherworld, yes.
Which is interesting because that's a Captain Britain thing. Unless that's actually
it's just a British thing. It's a British thing.
Yeah,
that's where Avalon came. That's where Avalon came from. That's where Otherworld came from. It's basically British lore.
So Beowulf lives in the Otherworld and shows up at Arthur's castle to
Beowulf on fire. I mean, not just Beowulf. Beowulf's on fire. A fictitious character that never lived, supposedly now is real.
Beowulf on flambe.
On flambe. I mean, so and somehow miraculously Merlin has now appeared. The plot thickens.
Well, no, wait a minute. Merlin appearing, the interesting thing was Arthur going, I know not who you are.
Right.
And Merlin's like, I know. But
so the whole
Merlin.
Whole myth of Merlin and Mort d'Arthur, I mean, it's like, wait, hold on. So Merlin wasn't a thing, but now is a thing?
You realize Mort in that situation is death of Arthur.
I know. Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I know.
I was making sure you weren't calling
I read it, yes.
Just make sure you weren't calling him Mort Arthur, because I was going to die laughing.
Arthur's name is Mort? No.
Yeah, Morty.
Morty? No.
Morty.
Yeah, Morty.
King Morty.
But no, this was the plot thing is, and again, this is where Kieran Gillen really, I guarantee he went, ooh, I'm gonna have more than 6 issues. Hell yes. All right, let's go. What else can I do?
What kind of things can I bring to that? And it's so good. I mean, so guys, if you've never picked
and the art matches the story in this.
The art does match.
The artist here could do God Killers and I'd be happy. You know what I mean? Because that would be good.
It's too bright.
That's too bright?
That's too bright for God Killers.
All right. Anyway, so...
Because this is all about faith and our stories define us and Al-Hazred's like, I don't believe in anything and I can't believe in anything. And even though I see these things happening and it's folklore and it's like, I still don't really believe in anything and I'm afraid of everything.
What's really fun about
faith is the opposite of fear.
What's great about this one is Arthur listens to Merlin and says, fine, go take out my enemies. And Beowulf's like, okay, sure. So he goes after Gran.
Yeah.
And the girlfriend Rose is like, you're not on the interstate, are you? It's like, and that's boom where Beowulf appears.
Percy's gonna smack him. Right?
Oh, Percy doesn't know his power.
We're finally gonna see him rise up.
So
I do want to know why Beowulf is on fire.
I don't know why he's on fire.
Why is he on fire?
He came from the other world. I guarantee he was not on fire in the other world, but now he's just mad.
He seems to be on fire everywhere.
He's Beowulf. Maybe that was his end, is when he was on fire. So, by the way, I kept both covers because I love this Matina
This
cover.
confuses the hell out of me, though, because Harley, this is clearly Harley's outfit, but that's like a cross between Punchline's hairdo and Joker's makeup and Punchline's nose. Like, that just pissed me off, so I finally said, no, I'm not buying that.
Anyway.
I'm glad there was a choice.
I love Matina.
I don't think it was a great cover.
So the plot thickens here as well.
Oh. Now, dude, this would be my book of the week.
Yeah.
So, Batman 93. The Joker's ahead of Bruce.
Yeah. The Joker's been ahead of Bruce for a long time. The designer laid out the plan a long time ago, and Joker's actually been sticking to the plan. But with one exception.
So, in the end of issue 92, Batman and the designer are about to throw down. And it looks like it's in Wayne Manor. It's not in Wayne Manor. It's in an apartment that looks like Wayne Manor.
Exactly.
And they sword fight, and Batman pulls a katana from his waistband. But
it's not though. It's a collapsible katana. Do you notice when he pulls it out, it actually forms?
But he pulls a sword from his bat underoos. He literally swing.
Where does he get these wonderful toys?
Yeah. Which is a thing we've missed for a while. When a man,
I'm telling you, Tynan loves the gadgets.
Yeah.
Ever since the first issue, he was gadget heavy. It's been great.
And the bat katana is a thing. He pulled it from his Batman underoos.
The bat katana. So essentially, the whole thing has been a double cross for Catwoman. She winds up giving all of the secret, all the money, all the accounts. She knows all the account numbers.
She's going to transfer all of Bruce's money into her own accounts
to save it.
To save it. And when she gives the information to the underbroker, they actually transfer it into Joker's accounts. Joker's now a billionaire.
He's now $100 billion. So what's funny is that Deathstroke appears to be incapacitated. He is not. He winds up stabbing Bruce or stabbing Batman in the leg, and he says, "Excuse me, Lucius, I know you're there. May want to call for an ambulance because he won't survive this. If he pulls it out, he's gonna die. If he leaves it in, he's fine. I'd get over here now, though." And basically, he gets in Batman's face. He's like, "I just wanted to see you. I just wanted to see you fail." In the meantime, Punchline and Harley Quinn are at it, and Punchline slashes Harley Quinn's throat, throws her in the river.
Batman 93 could be the theoretical death of Harley Quinn, but we know it's not.
She's immortal. I don't think she can be killed, and I'm not saying that as a hyperbole. I literally don't think she can be killed. And of course, the other thing is Catwoman. After she leaves, she gets all the money. She's shot by Punchline.
Yeah, and it looked like she shot her in the back of the head. And here's the thing, she may have the same Kevlar in her. Yeah. But, I mean, Catwoman's clearly talking, so she is not dead.
My guess through all of this is that, first of all, Batman was prepared for the designer anyway. He knew what the designer's plans were way ahead of the designer. Because the designer's plan originally when Batman was young to take all the assassins together, take down the Bat family, and then have Joker go after Batman and Robin in the Batcave. And this is what really upset Joker. That's why he was so mad about the designer's plan. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. That's unfair play. He literally was like, he
doesn't want to kill Batman. He wants the game between him and Batman to go on forever.
Exactly. So that's why this is the Joker that escaped the Batcave in Dark Knight's Metal. So this is the one who quite literally is knows all the secrets.
Right.
So this this war is going to be amazing.
Yes.
I'm very, very excited about this war. What do you have next?
Batman Beyond number 44. So it's really good, man. You're missing a great thing reading Batman Beyond. Damian is almost dead. I forget the stupid dragon's name.
The Bat Dragon thing?
Yeah, his best friend.
Uno?
No. Anyway.
Fred?
No, it's not Fred. It's Garin's a comic book slut. Shut the hell up. Anyway, he brings him to Terry. Terry is flying back to the Bat apartment because the manor has been compromised because Blight went nuclear in it, which was pretty cool. Couple issues back. So as they're on their way back, the League of Assassins attacks, and Terry's like, I got this, and Bruce is like, no, you don't. And so the Bat Dragon thing, and Damian and had to fix your alphabetization there. So they get back and they fly into the side of the building that's a hologram, and they put Damian in basically a Lazarus pit. Terry's like, let's get him to the hospital. He needs a hospital.
Is it Dionysium or is it?
It's green. So
interesting.
Bruce slides him in there, and in true comic book fashion, slow talks the explanation. And as he's saying, it's based on Lazarus Pit, so sometimes they come out hyper aggressive. Of course, Damian jumps out, grabs Terry by the throat, and they're about to throw down. And yeah, it's so good. And then Damian reveals, because Bruce is like, Damian! And he stops. And when he does that, it's like, okay, we're good. And then you find out that
Is Damian still mad at Bruce?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he's never gonna get past it. He's never gonna be like, hey, Dad, you're a dick.
No, his growth arc might happen here, but it hasn't happened into his 30s or 40s.
Okay.
So probably not going to happen at all. So he reveals to them that the League of Assassins, led by Zero, is not planning on destroying Gotham. They're going to destroy the planet. They're going to leave in spaceships, freeze the planet to nothingness, destroy the population, and then come back and rule the Earth. And so obviously Terry and Damian are going to
have to team up
and fight Zero in space. I mean, clearly.
What different power is that?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's okay. Batman Beyond against the League of Assassins in space.
In space.
Yeah.
With Damian.
Does
he also have a Batman Beyond suit?
I assume that both him and Elena Grayson will.
Okay.
So.
No, I mean Damian. Is Damian gonna?
I assume both him and Elena Grayson.
So you think
will.
that Bats has a secret like Robin suit? Oh, man.
Yeah. No, he'll just have a variant Batman suit.
He's so smart.
With katanas in the underoos.
The book next we can go with, and honestly, go quickly through. There are 3 stories.
I want my $5 back.
There are 3 story vignettes in here. Really.
I hate anthologies.
The only one to go with is the Tynan story, which basically is about how Joker goes to Deathstroke's private island and says, "Hey, I want you to work for me," and Deathstroke's like, hell no.
If you were going to put together a set of Joker War stuff to sell on eBay at some point in time in the future, and you wanted to have every little
you gotta have this
piece, every little crumb, it's a good one to have.
Again, it's only one part of the story, but it's worth having because it explains. And in fact, in Joker War, in number 93, it says, please refer to secret files for this information. So there's bits of information you don't have that are over here. So this is a good thing. So
anybody who bought Batman the Smile Killer because we talked about it, I'm so sorry. I didn't particularly enjoy Killer Smile. It was a little stupid. But the Smile Killer, is just unnecessary. It shouldn't have dropped.
It's all about the Joker going after Bruce specifically, but I don't think it was just Bruce. I think he was going after all kids in that time frame. But Bruce was especially susceptible because of who he was and because of his parents. And literally,
except for none of that probably actually happened. Right. I mean, so the story is Bruce is a little boy, watches Mr. Smiles on TV, right, and he ends up shooting his dad.
Right.
None of the Batman stuff happened. There was no Joe Chill. Right. You know, Bruce with the makeup shot his dad. His mom's still alive. Right. He's in the mental hospital. Jim Gordon is his doctor, not the police detective. Right. As seen in Batman Last Night on Earth.
Yeah.
Stupid and unnecessary.
This was, and they're both Black Label. So I don't know what universe or what continuity this is supposed to be. It's
a money grab, man.
It was unnecessary.
Speaking of unnecessary, although you would be after me, I have 2 issues to do.
Oh, that's right. You have some flashes.
So,
some flashes.
Flash Annual number 3.
Yeah.
It is a totally unnecessary story unless you like Captain Boomerang, and it is a story of Captain Boomerang teaming up with Flash to rescue the Suicide Squad from Amanda Waller and Ted Kord.
Wow.
Yeah, it's actually really pretty fun. I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Captain Boomerang is supposed to be a metahuman.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, he's actually supposed to have connection to the Speed Force. That's been a thing for a long time.
Well, so I don't know where it happened. I believe it happened in the pages of Suicide Squad, according to the little call-out boxes. Mm-hmm. See Suicide Squad number 5. See Suicide Squad number 12. Whatever. Basically, Ted Kord has taken over Task Force X away from Amanda Waller and is sending them on more and more dangerous missions.
That's what's going on currently in this series. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So
Boomerang basically tells Flash, I don't want to be doing any of this, but I got a bomb in my neck. Right. And I don't have a choice because I have a bomb in my neck. Hey, the dickhead didn't do a burnout. I'm so proud.
Pretty sure someone reported him.
So anyway, Digger goes to the Flash and he helps Task Force X escape, and the Flash teams up with Suicide Squad to kind of deal with that escape plan because Deathstroke comes after them. And it's fun because it tells the story from Digger Harkness's totally BS perspective, where he's lying, where he beat up Deathstroke, and then you find out, no, he didn't.
Oh, of course he didn't.
No, we didn't. But it's really it's a really fun story. Josh Williamson wrote this, and it's brilliant. I really have come to appreciate his writing. He writes Flash, he writes Batman, Superman. He really has a good grasp on superheroes and villains. So that was actually a last week drop that didn't come in, so should be all caught up. I also have Flash 756. Zoom is traveling through history, grabbing the rogues at different points in the timeline. But the scary thing is at the end of the book, he goes into the future and grabs the grown Tornado Twins and is going to bring them back to fight Barry. The Legion of Zoom is going to be fun.
Wow.
So, and of course, Barry is being a whiny bitch because August is dead. I can't. Wally is less whiny than Barry. Okay, now you can talk about your stupid Green Lantern crap. Comic book slut.
So, this is the official last storyline from Dennis O'Neil. We thought it was Catwoman. It's actually this. Last thing he wrote was in here. This is basically vignettes about the Green Lantern, starting with Alan Scott. And when Alan Scott got his power, there was a train wreck. It was caused by his rival who was trying to kill him. He survives because this man sacrificed himself to save him. And that's when you see the Green Lantern. He goes to the white man's mother and says, I was there. And she says, how did you survive? And of course, he's vague. And then she says, well, I hope these people got what they deserved. And of course, he did. He punished them for what they did. So that's one of the many stories in here. There's a story about Guy Gardner finally dying, killed by something. And it's the other 3 Green Lanterns all having a beer, talking about him, talking about the stupid stuff he used to do. How he
and then Guy Gardner walks in the bar and punches them all in the face.
No, Guy Gardner's actually dead. They go to his grave. Let's talk about the time he flashed Sinestro to get Sinestro to stop attacking long enough so they could defend. Anyway, all the Lanterns are represented in some way, shape, or form, except for Teen Lantern from Young Justice. There's a thing of her in here, but this is actually pretty great. There's a whole thing about Kilowog. They're doing a special surprise birthday for Kilowog. That's pretty neat. They did a good job with these. This was a good storyline. Nothing key or special or anything like that. It's just to celebrate the anniversary. One thing that's really cool though is at the very back. This is one thing that's really neat is they show all the Lanterns and when they got their start, like when they first began, what comic they came out in, and it's pretty great actually because for collectors they may want to know. Okay, so the first appearance of Alan Scott was blank, or the first appearance of Hal Jordan was blank. It's pretty neat.
So Alan Scott would be the only Green Lantern that I would read. I mean, like if they had an Alan Scott Green Lantern book, sign me up.
Well, he'll be in Death Metal Part 2.
As long as Grant Morrison doesn't write it.
Oh, please God, no.
Even you're starting to admit it.
I love him, but it's like, wow.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
But he's insane. So, Justice League 47. A little bit of a predictable ending. It was a little frustrating.
Very predictable ending. The art is still amazing on this book, and the writing is amazing. The only thing
you can't say that the story was predictable and the writing was amazing. That's not.
The writing was good. He's been a great writer. The problem I have, the only issue I have is the very end where they're like, "Teamwork makes the dream work." I'm like, come on, guys, this, really.
It literally felt like the end of a '90s Justice League cartoon.
It felt like the Super Friends cartoon.
Yeah.
Only by teamwork do we work better together. I'm like, oh God.
They admit that the grudges are still there, but they're sorry about them.
And of course, Corrigan takes the power back of the Spectre. They fight Tartarus back into Tartarus. I mean, we knew that was coming. I kind of wanted to see a multiple thing where Tartarus gets out and they have to defeat Tartarus and shove him back into his hole. I mean, that would have been fun, but that didn't happen.
I wanted it to be a giant toothbrush with some. We fight Tartarus. Something horrible.
Yeah.
Plastic
Man had been in the group.
Plastic Man with Kyle Rayner helping him. This is why they won't let me write comics. Because I would do some corny side gag like that.
So
you should be next with G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I am. So the story's continuing. So essentially,
yes, that's why we would have a next issue. The story's continuing.
Well, Cobra is still in charge of the whole country. G.I. Joe is still fighting back. And what they do is they send Fadeaway, the character here, on this mission. Her mission is to do two things. To get this special...
She has short hair.
She has almost no hair. So she's supposed to blend in, supposed to look like a guy. Anyway, so...
She's succeeding.
Her mission is to go find her friend who's still working for Cobra, convince her to join the G.I. Joes, and to get these two... special grenades out of Cobra custody because they'll melt through anything. So essentially they're trying to steal thermite. They're basically trying to steal them from Cobra. It turns out the whole mission was kind of a ruse to see what Fadeaway would do.
It's a ruse.
Fadeaway, of course, her friend winds up killing herself instead of being captured by Cobra, which is really sad. And the character that's really most upset about this is Jinx. Jinx is like, listen, you can't do this to us. When we go on missions, we have to believe they're real or it won't matter. Well, Jinx quits, and she finds her master, which is...
I have no idea.
Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes has been her master. It was basically the person that trained her. And she goes to
watched G.I. Joe since the 80s, bro.
So she goes to Snake Eyes and says, fine, it's time for us to start our own war. So basically Snake Eyes is still around, but he's completely hidden, and he has been working off the books from G.I. Joe.
And also written and drawn by Rob Liefeld in his own series.
Well, I don't know that it's going to be the same run.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I don't know what the run for him is. I have Sleeping Beauties. This is pretty great. This was this is the Stephen King and Owen King book that came out. Basically, the Sleeping Beauties, there's a sleeping disorder that's causing women to just fall asleep and they're basically in a coma. It's happening all around the world. It starts in Australia. It's going all around the world. And they get this spider web kind of thing on their faces. There's a catalyst. There's a woman, though, who wakes up from this and starts killing people. So it's kind of the beginning of the story. So there's 12 issues in this. Should be interesting.
So,
you has 2.
TMNT number 105.
105, yeah.
First of all, one of the best emotional books of the week. The guys are coming together. They're at their first ever rock concert.
They finally get back together after death.
They start Splinter's dojo, and they're teaching a lot of the other mutanimals martial arts. The kids, the little kid badgers and the little kid turtle, are all hanging out together. And you have this very touching moment when you find that Lita, the little white turtle, is being bullied by some of the other kids. And Jenica sits down with her and says, I used to have these problems too. And turns out I'm pretty okay. And then you see this panel. And I'm going to pull this up. For those of you on YouTube, check that out.
Is that Lita from the future?
That has to be Lita from the future. Look at the eyes.
Wow.
White turtle. I'm not sure this isn't a link to Last Ronin. What if Lita
is the last
Ronin? It would make sense. That is clearly how she's traveling through time.
That's cool.
It really is.
Really
Guys, Ninja Turtles has been one hell of a run, and issue 105 clearly sets up the next arc.
So we've said this before. This is one of those books that you absolutely should be reading if you're not already, because it's
as he says, without having read
honestly, it. Honestly, I'm kind of afraid what would happen if I started back now. I mean, where would I begin?
You'd be like me. You'd have a whole stack of trades from TMNT, and then you'd have like issues starting around 106. It'd be all right. TMNT Jenica.
Number 3.
That's done. It isn't that I hate Jenica as a character. I love Jenica. This just didn't need to happen. Very unnecessary. I grabbed the 3rd issue because I grabbed the first 2.
Okay.
Yeah, moving on. Die?
So I tell you what.
Kieran Gillen had a good week.
Man. I read these books, and every time I'm like, please tell me something good is going to happen to this group. No, hell no.
No.
Hell
it's
no.
just a twist of the nipples.
So, I mean, I guess Saul being in a prison is a good thing. He can't mess with them anymore, but he's created this universe created this reality, and it's.
I don't think he created the reality.
You think he just
tapped
into it?
You're right. One of the things that they said is that the Fallen are characters who were human. No, it tells you specifically in this book they were human at one point in time, and they died in the story, and now they're the Fallen. They're undead.
But they were here when they first got here.
Right.
Which was supposed to be a brand new reality.
Which is why it's important that the Bronte sisters helped create some of the first role-playing stories.
Right.
And we're going to encounter other historical figures throughout the story that have helped to create it. It's a little bit of a nod to like a shared imaginative space.
And this one we finally found out that, what's the guy's name? Has cancer.
Yeah.
The dick.
Chuck,
exactly.
Chuck.
He has cancer, which he found out about this happened.
Chuck's not a dick. Chuck really cares about everything, and so that he doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve, he plays callous.
Well,
I understand Chuck. And then you find out that Ash's sister has a kid.
Yeah.
Who is one of the Fallen.
Oh. She's like, Mom? Like, oh, no, what was her name? Molly. She called her Molly? Yeah. Anyway, so this, as Die keeps going, the tale gets twisted, and it's, man, well-told story.
Die is one that you almost want to read all the issues up to it before you read the next issue so you don't miss a detail.
It's tough because he calls back to so much, and you're like...
There's nothing missing.
Like, what? All right, so, Mercy. It got better. It did. It got better. This is a better storyline. You start to see more of who these people are that are hunting these vampires.
But they eat their floral blossom thingies, and I still don't understand what the hell's going on. Other than
I understand more now that essentially they're hunting them because the woman hired them to hunt them. But now that they're finding out what's going on, now she's kind of horrified by what the deal is. So,
they're eating the thing they're hunting.
Yeah,
and
it's weird.
And clearly she's a little different.
I guess once it's cooked, it's okay.
And he was a little different, and he was going to have sex with another man, and Only as he went to go down on him, he ate him. I mean, it's totally... It's really a fun read. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, at least we can be honest. Middle West is coming to an end. Next issue is the last issue. The overseer here, the one who has been kidnapping kids for years and turning them into slaves, and he's been growing these fields of things to sell. He's using them as slave labor. He's finally confronted, and he keeps smacking around the kid. And finally, the kid fights back and becomes his ultimate tornado form, and nearly destroys everything.
So Aang woke up and used the Avatar Force to...
Why you gotta ruin things? Why you gotta do that? Anyway,
because I'm not a comic book slut.
This was good. So, and it's almost over, unfortunately. Outer Darkness Chew.
Really good job on John Layman's part of introducing Chew characters to people who are reading Outer Darkness.
If you've never read Chew, this was a good introduction to Tony. It's an introduction to the group, to Pollo. I'm sorry, my favorite part is, so all these characters have now come to life because of the holodeck. Gives them life.
The Holocene.
Well, the Holocene, it's a holodeck. But anyway, so Holocene brings them to life, but then...
a demon interjects itself into the
and
programming.
So, Pollo, the demon chicken, goes after the dark god that's powering their warp drive. And the dark god and Pollo go at it. And Pollo is eventually taken by one of the other demons, and they escape in a shuttle. But when they go back to go see the dark god, he's like, Pollo, fucking Pollo, man, because he's clearly got the crap beat out of him. So the engineer's like, yeah, he'll back up to speed at some point. It's like, we'll be fine. And of course, Captain Riggs says, anyone who brings mentions a damn comic book to me again gets thrown in the brig. It's pretty funny. Right on an airlock. Yeah.
Throw him out on an airlock.
Yeah, this was good. This was fun. So. And
I'm kind of glad it's over, and we're going to get back to maybe some real Outer Darkness.
Oh man, I can't wait. And it hasn't been solicited yet, but we know there's going to be more Outer Darkness because Layman's a genius.
Unless he's stuck with the man who effed up time, which is okay too.
Great.
Olmer Gerd.
Wow.
So we start off on basically the Roanoke colony.
Yeah.
And how
the lost Roanoke colony in North Carolina. Yeah.
How Satan's real name is Croatoan.
Croatoan, yeah.
And that Satan took the colony.
Well, not Satan, but the vampires took the colony.
Yeah.
But we know the demon or the vampire who took the colony, who killed the colonists, was already here before she got here.
That's a he.
As a he.
Yeah.
Before he got here, excuse me. Before he got here. And of course they team up and kind of do their own thing. This was, if you're into vampire lore, this creates all new vampire lore. 90 Gates has truly taken this new take on vampire lore. It's been pretty amazing.
Is not Judas, but he is one of the attendants of Christ's body.
Right.
And Satan shows up smiling. And
has him drink Christ's blood. Which turns him into a vampire.
What he thought was the first vampire.
Right.
And they land on the U.S. and there's basically a army of vampires. Some of them flying, some of them on horseback, who greet the Viking ships that he's coming with. And he's like, yeah, there was this other vampire waiting for me when I got there.
No, Viking. Not Viking. Because Croatoan was way after the Vikings.
Well, I understand that, but he's with Vikings.
Oh.
Go look at the art.
Oh, they were Vikings, weren't they? Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, Johan.
Yeah.
You know him as JV.
JV.
And it's like, ooh! And he's the only other vampire directly created by the Dark One. And it's like, wow. Donny Cates, man. I love you.
Yeah. So, sad issue.
Sex Criminals number 29. So we have 30 and
2 left.
30 and 69.
Yeah. We're clearly not showing you the actual cover.
We both bought
for reasons.
We both bought the XXX variant done by Jen Bartel, which was very, very well done and is very pretty. But even I wouldn't hang it on my wall.
Yeah, it's a little pornographic. Yes.
Oh no, it's very pornographic.
Okay, very pornographic. So the quiet is gone.
Yeah.
There's no more quiet left, and the sex police, the ones who actually had the power, are finding it out the hard way. They're trying to get into it.
Kegel face running out naked outside.
They can't figure out what's going on or why it's happening.
John just destroying everything of Badal's by hand. He's essentially going through the guy's house.
He starts in the bedroom and just
he's got a sawzall and a
hammer,
a sledgehammer, and he's just cutting and destroying everything. And then he gets to the library.
He spends a full 24 hours, literally no rest, a full 20 just wiping
this book stolen from. And
he takes the whole library.
And just hand signs the Dick, Kubal Badal, and all of them.
every single book,
Yeah, because he can't bring himself to burn books because he loves Susie. And
Susie's gone. She's
lost in space and time.
She's in the
quiet.
In the quiet, yeah. She's part of the quiet now. And of course, as he's been taken off to prison, once he's in prison, she comes to him as he's trying to...
Well, he's trying to bring on the quiet, and if you've
nothing happens.
Listened to any of our reviews on sex criminals, you know how to bring on the quiet.
And it's not happening. So, it's a pretty intense book. This was very well done. I'm sad to see it go, but I understand the point.
Fraction and Zarsky got some really sentimental chops out of this one.
Yeah.
And I expect issue 30 and issue 69 to follow in that vein.
So Marvel, let's switch to Marvel. This is Avengers Empire number 0. This is kind of the redemption of Tony Stark, because Tony Stark was in the past for a long time. He's come back because of Iron Man 2020 run. He has realized how big of an ass he's been over the past 25, 30 years. And he's starting to realize that he needs to change. He's in Avengers Mountain, and he's asleep, and remember the whole point behind this Empire thing is that the Katati were wiped out on the blue area of the moon, but he's there the whole time seeing the whole thing, even though because it's just a memory. It's something he's been implanted with. He can't forget it. It's part of his memories now, even though he wasn't really there. So they go to the blue side of the moon. They're summoned to the blue side of the moon because there's a distress call. And what they find, the Avengers, is that there is basically a war armor left over from the Kree, and it's basically come to life, and it attacks the Avengers. But what comes out of the shadows? What crazy thing comes out of the shadows but the swordsman, who we haven't seen in 20 years? The last thing was Celestial Madonna with him and Mantis. They create the Celestial Messiah. He's been there the whole time. He is the swordsman. When the swordsman died, he got the body, but he also is part Katati. So basically, he is two halves of a whole, and he's a good guy now. He literally he's a hero, back to being kind of a hero again. Because Swordsman was a hero for a while. The whole time he was just plotting against the Avengers. So this is actually pretty good. So we see the Celestial Messiah, who's also part Katati, and they talk about what's coming. They talk about the incoming invasion. And the Avengers basically decide, okay, fine, we don't have enough time to really warn everybody. We'll send a warning out to Alpha Flight. We'll let them know what's going on, but we stand here against everybody. And the whole time, Tony is trying to make these corrections in his head, saying, you know what, I can be a hero. I can do this. And talking about Thor being one of his best friends. And this is actually a very good book. This was a good beginning, because if this is any indication, Empire's probably going to be really good. I don't know that all the one-shots going around it are going to be good, but I know this story should be pretty good. So,
if I was going to pick between it and Dark Knight's Metal,
Death
Metal to be the event of the year, Death Metal's going to take it.
The event of the year is going to be X of Swords. Period. That's going to be the event of the year. I could tell you now.
Immortal Hulk, number 34. Guys, if you didn't like this issue, it's because it's not about the Hulk at all.
It's the Maker.
It's the leader.
I'm sorry, the leader. She's the leader. Excuse me. Sorry, Maker is the other big-headed guy, Reed Richards. Anyway, so I read a lot of stuff this week. This was a big week.
You didn't read that much more stuff than me.
Okay, so basically, he's talking about his origin and how he became the leader.
And a lot of people haven't seen the leader in... I mean, honestly, the last thing I remember him was Thunderbolts 2.
Yeah.
And it was he was red.
Yep.
And it actually talks about Red Hulk draining his gamma and making him Stearns again. And he's died several times, and he always finds a way back. And
he essentially is immortal.
Yeah.
He's the immortal
maybe where the idea came from.
So.
But it's important to set that up because he is masquerading as Rick Jones.
Right. Well, and at the end, he's trying to bring back Bruce's father from hell.
Yeah.
So, Powers Bounty Hunters number 3. I'm glad it's in the same time frame as the other Star Wars books. It makes sense.
This will be my last issue. This is pointless.
This does not matter to the rest of the Star Wars books. It just doesn't.
It's pointless.
I mean,
I'd like to have my $5 back.
It's cool that they're doing this battle. It's cool to see Bosk because we really never get into the Bosk at all.
Bosk is so I love Boba Fett. I don't want anybody to take away my Star Wars cred, but I like Bosk more.
Really?
Bosk is this underplayed Trandoshan. He's vile. He brings scum to scum and villainy. I mean, he really is.
He puts the scum
and villainy. He really is just a vicious lizard creature from beyond.
Yeah.
And
he's a D-bag. He really is. Yeah.
And he doesn't get enough love. And so the whole reason I've wanted to read the book, and it's not about that. It's about Valance. Who gives a shit about Valance?
But the problem is, there's got to be a character reference in here. So Valance, which we throw back to the original Star Wars run, that's got to be why they do this.
They're working on bringing back the Green Bunny.
Jax? I hope they do. Jax was awesome.
No, he's not.
He was awesome.
He's stupid.
He was Jar Jar Binks before Jar Jar Binks was a thing.
I know.
So let's talk about the awesomeness of Thor number 5.
Thor number 5 is really good.
So the Black Winter is upon us.
So Thor and Galactus are throwing down with the Black Winter,
which basically is ethereal. It's nothing.
Yeah. Well, and it forms itself into all the possible villains.
Oh yeah.
That Thor has struggled with.
All the worst.
Apocalypse.
God Butcher.
Yeah, God Butcher's in there.
Is it impossible? I kills you.
What's the Magog?
Yeah,
Magog.
Annihilus.
Yeah, it's so great. You're like, oh wow, that's all of Thor's. The only thing we needed was the Wrecking Crew, and then the Black Winter forms himself into Thor,
a dark version of Thor, the opposite of Thor.
And he says, "Dude, calm down.
I'm not really here for you.
I'm not here for you at all.
No.
I destroyed Galen's universe and created Galen. I'm here to reclaim him. Just a repo
He's
man.
my herald. I'm here to reclaim him." You're like, whoa, what?
Yeah,
Galactus was a herald for somebody else?
Of the Black Winter.
Holy crap! How is this possible? Yeah, this is pretty great. And by the way, if you were smart enough to buy one of these issues, it's worth about $25, main cover only, on eBay right now. Enjoy your book. This is a good key first appearance, so just remember that.
First appearance of
Black Winter. Well, it's the reason it's valuable is it's the Black Winter appearance and it's a reveal about Galen.
So it's an origin of the Black Winter.
It's both. It's a combination of things. So it's very hot. Yeah. So then we have Rogue Planet.
Okay. If you ever had an argument for Cullen Bunn not being one of the greatest of all time comic writers, Rogue Planet will change your mind.
Yep.
I think it is.
I actually had a customer say to me she didn't like the first one today. This other day, I'm like, "What's wrong with you?"
That's okay. Maybe she doesn't like sci-fi.
But she loves Cullen Bunn. Just not, I was surprised. I'm like, really? So it kind of shocked me. But what I wanted to say was, well, you need to try issue 2 before you say no. But I didn't do that. I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Because issue 2 pulls it out.
It is weird. It is different. I really liked some of the lore he very subtly put in there.
Yeah.
About going Zom. So you can go into stasis, but you still have the ability, while being connected to the machines, without being aware of what you're doing, to walk around and do things. Pre-programmed.
So they're talking about
routines.
Zombies. It's space zombies.
But it's something on Earth. I mean,
right.
You can go into stasis. So this cute little gay guy who is their mechanic is talking about his man back home and how he's not aging because he's in this sleep.
Right.
And every time he comes home, he's younger than his partner. Right. And so the partner has started going into stasis.
Even if it's only 3 or 4 months at a time.
Yeah. But if you think about it, if you're gone for 3 years and you're in stasis for half that time, you come back and the person who hasn't been in stasis has a few wrinkles that the other one doesn't.
Right.
So he starts going into stasis every time the guy's away so that they stay the same age. and he's talking to this other part of the crew, which was such a...
And they're just talking on the comm.
It's such a nice way to insert exposition without being expositional.
Yeah.
And then he sees his partner there.
He appears out of one of the pods and then attacks him, turns him into... He's some kind of zombifies him there for a minute, and then drags him out of the craft. And of course, the other two come after him and shoot the zombie, freeing him from his mind. And of course, then the natives of this planet
and spear him in the head. It's so good. And that doesn't even cover what happened with the crazy squiggly spooch aliens.
I'm telling you, man,
the rest of the crew.
We've said this before, and we interviewed Cullen Bunn. He genuinely is amazing, and I genuinely can't wait for review.
I would love to get him back on just to talk about this.
We could get Cullen Bunn on to talk about all his damn books, and it would be 5 volumes of hours at a time talking to Cullen Bunn.
So, guys, if you paid attention to our previous episode last week, Garin talked about this, and he said it's in the future, and vampires and humans live in harmony, but there's a ninja. And I was like, sign me up! And I'm glad I did.
So, Vault Comics, Bleed Them Dry, it's set in the year 3333. There's been some sort of cataclysmic something to set certain areas of the world apart. This one, essentially, it's a safe haven for vampires and humans together. They do live together in harmony because why wouldn't they? Vampires can live off of anything. And there's different types of vampires. There's immortals, the top chain, but there's also half immortals, and there's some that are pseudo.
There's half breeds,
yeah.
And then
there's a third weird. Anyway,
so I assume you're either like Blade. You're either born a vampire, right. You're a mortal.
Turn to a vampire.
Child of an immortal who will eventually die and become an immortal, or you're bitten and turned.
So what's happening is some of the immortals, the ones the top echelon, are being hunted by what they believe is a ninja because they're using a
no, they just believe it's an insane...
Yeah, for sure. They believe it's an insane, crazy person, right? The ninja thing comes in at the end of the book.
Yeah.
So this is really... So basically, you got a human with a vampire cop partner, and they are investigating these crimes, and the vampire is like, let me go dig around with my secret contacts and find out what I can do. Brings in a patsy.
Who is actually one of his people.
Right. And as he's torturing this patsy at the end...
No, he's not torturing him. He is feeding from him in a ritual to turn the other guy into a vampire.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. I missed that part. I thought it was torture, but yeah, okay. So... Yeah, and then of course
the partner walks in on the
event,
the feeding.
Yeah, the feeding. Yeah, and of course she's like, I can't believe you're doing this. He's like, I really wish you hadn't done this. I can absolutely see this as a movie. This would be a lot of fun. Vampires are very much in vogue right now. They never really stopped being in vogue, but
they fade in and out.
Yeah,
they fade in and out.
There's one in September. There's a big vampire book coming up, and August the 5th we got a big vampire book coming up called Cult of Dracula. So this is a good time for the vampires to kind of come back out. I'm surprised there's not a new Blade book in the works. Honestly, he's in obviously Avengers, but
there is a very big push for vampires in the Marvel universe as one of the primary villains of the Avengers.
Right.
And Dracula's moves there are kind of big. So yeah, vampires are really coming. Guys, if you didn't pick up Bleed Them Dry, I did not expect a dense, detailed story. I kind of expected something a little tongue-in-cheek. It's very well written. The art's kind of oddly appropriate for it. I enjoyed every panel on every page. I was really excited to get there. We've started a new discussion group on Facebook, which, by the way, guys, please come join us. Because if you can't beat them, join them. I named it Let's Talk Comics. and that's what we do. We literally discuss issues.
What do we talk about?
Comics.
Really? Yeah. It's called Let's Talk Comics?
And comic book sluts like you. So,
sorry.
It's been a lot of fun.
I shouldn't be laughing that much, but it has been fun. It actually has been a great discussion board. In fact, Ben was talking about what the value of Catwoman, is it going to go up? Value of
the 80th anniversary specials in
Joker.
General.
Will they go up in value? And actually, they might, because if it is actually a true origin story and you got characters to stick around, it could be a big deal. It's been great to have these discussions with people. Some people I don't even know. Some people that have been recommended by others I don't know. But it's kind of great to have those discussions and talk about things. So.
But if you want to join us, shoot one of us a message on Facebook. Sure. We'll get you into the group.
Yeah.
Absolutely fun. Post pictures, post videos, post conversation, talking points.
And we'll talk about our pull lists on there. We'll talk about, hey, what's new coming up, and hopefully, and we'll share some of our videos here too on there as well. So
absolutely.
People can actually see kind of what's going on, what's new. We want the whole point behind the podcast is we have fun with this, but we want you to hear what's new, what's coming up, and we give our reviews because, quite frankly, we want to share. We want you to know why it's a good book, and if you haven't read it, you probably should. Or
we need to rename the show "Show and Tell" with David and Garin.
Show and Tell. So yeah, we really appreciate you guys listening and watching and all that too. Because honestly, this is just a labor of love for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate you. Okay, love you. Bye. 58 minutes on the audio.
And YouTube, we love you too. You guys are awesome. You've been so appreciative and fantastic. We love talking to you. So, as I'm doing right now, for apparently no reason. As David sneaks up to the camera.
Yeah, I like to hit it. I like to hit it from behind.